Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Iconist Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in and keep supplying your feedback to the show. Thank you for tuning in and just being a part of the show, because without you, they couldn't be us. Like how there isn't comic books, they couldn't be the show. So it's a lot of moving pieces, and we're glad you're one of them. Thank you. I just wanted to say that. Like usual, you know who I am. I'm Barry 3D, and you want to find out where I'm going to be? Check out the links down below and more on barry3d.com. Simple as that. Now, always, as any good show, people can do it solo, but I refuse to do that. Well, I have the man, the myth, the legend, the DJ who's nonstop rocking Twitch back and forth and playing live wherever you may be it Toronto to Montreal and all the way back in BIM. If you don't know what I mean by BIM, I mean Barbados for the rest of you. Okay. All right. And for the Bayesian community, BIM. BIM. My cousin, my best friend, my co-host, the one and only
DJ Rod C. Yes. Play it back in the rock, on the rock from the BIM. Let's go.
What? Yes, sirree, Bob. And quick shout outs to a couple of our friends. So one, quick shout out to the comic book stores. Without the comic book stores, you wouldn't have this show. You wouldn't be fans of the show or listening or want to be a part of it. So support your comic books. And if you got to support them, out in Kitchener is Wow Comics with my boy West. And out in Montreal, it's Check Swings, my boy Trevor. Tell them that we said hello. Be polite. Pass it on. Now, if you want to find out what else is going on, be it online or be it live, we got the comedy troupe I'm a part of, and I'm glad to be a part of this comedy troupe. Been for a couple of years. A Touch of Gray Matter comedy with myself, Barry 3D, Zulf Ali, and Dave Sokolowski. Click the links. Check us out. We've got a whole bunch of videos on YouTube. We're in season 3 of that show, and we're performing live. So can't I look for it all over the place? And last but not least, the one who makes this show look so pretty, the one who makes that show look so pretty, the one who keeps it going all the time. And if you call out his name that you said you heard him on the Iconist podcast, he'll give you a discount. But of course, you got to know who I'm talking about. Rod, hit him with the name.
J Bird Digital Art.
J Bird Digital Art. So once again, you tell Jason Reese that you heard about him on the Iconist podcast. He will hook you up with a discount. And if you're not sure of the work he does, look at some of our past episodes. Look at the hoodie that he's done for me. Look at the templates and all that other stuff he's done. So Jay, thank you. And if you're not sure, we had Jay on one time. We were talking wrestling, and it was, us two along with Jay and Dave Sokolowski. Got to do it again. Have him back. We all got to talk some AEW stuff, because that's where I'm all about, man. MJF. Woo!
Do it.
All right, then. Brings us to today's topic. We wanted to go back, and we did a lot of DC, but now we're back to Marvel, and we go back and forth, and we did even some Image. Hope you liked it, and some live, some cartoon stuff, and some live action stuff. So here we go. We're getting back to DC, and a lot of the heroes seem to be coming out of Hell's Kitchen area, the Bronx, the Boogie Down Bronx. What? Oh my God! The bridge is over. Okay, never mind. If you don't know that song, you got to tune into Twitch on Wednesdays and listen to my man Rod C. All right, I'm sorry. I'm just running my mouth. Rod,
yo,
where can they find you?
Listen, you can find me on the World Wide Web, as I always say. You can find me on Instagram and Mr. Rod C. But as Barry was saying, you can find me on Twitch at DJ Rod C. Listen, I play all the vibes, all great times. Listen, I just finished coming off a birthday raid right now. Just play some old school 90s R&B, some reggaeton, some Afro beats, some reggae. I was just giving this birthday girl everything. I made sure she was well fed in music. You can be fed well as well. Come check me out on
Feed the Soul. Nice.
My precious.
My precious. And that's what we're talking about. Now, see, I mentioned Boogie Down Bronx. Rod mentioned reggaeton, and this leads right into our topic today. Today, on the Iconist podcast, the icon is the White Tiger.
White Tiger.
Right. Now, I don't mean Bengal tiger. That's a different character altogether, or a different animal. We're talking about the White Tiger. Now, the White Tiger was a Marvel superhero that was made way back in December of 1975. And his first appearance was in this magazine. Now, it was not even a comic book. It was a magazine called The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu.
Kung Fu.
What? Now, that magazine ran for 33 issues, and the claim to fame with that magazine was, one, it was a bigger format. It was a magazine format instead of a comic book.
Right.
It had interviews with real martial artists at the time. And I mean, they're still around now. So it had interviews with Chuck Norris. It talked about fighting techniques, different fighting styles, weapons that were used in the different forms of martial arts. So it was really informative with articles and all that. But they always had two comic book formats because this company was a sister company of Marvel Comics. So that's how they got in there. And they had two stories. So the first group of stories was always dealing with Iron Fist. What's that? Eddie Rand. And then the second one was followed by Sons of the Tiger. 3 martial artists. Now, these 3 martial artists turned around, and each of them were unique. So I had a black guy, a Chinese guy, and a black guy, a Chinese guy, and a white guy. And each of them had these magic medallions. So one of them had the head of a tiger that was like a jade, Ellen Jade. So one had the head of the tiger on a chain, and then the other 2 each had a paw of the tiger. So the set was separated, but it gave them like strength, speed, it enhanced their skills, and they brought them together, Sons of the Tiger, and that's how they had their run in there. So they were kind of in the Bronx, one was an actor, one was a pure martial artist, the other one, I can't remember what his background was, and I'll do some research and get into that, but that's who it was, right? And they ran around, got into some adventures, and they ended up with a vicious, like, when you hear a group breaks up, yeah, you thought Bobby Brown and New Edition was rough when they had to split.
Wow.
You thought it was vicious when Ike and Tina had their split. When Sons of the Tiger broke up, that last issue 19 was, and it's a second story in there. So you gotta kind of get to the second half of that story with them. It was a full out 3-man brawl, martial arts style. And it broke up because of jealousy and maybe some underlying hatred. It was like a love triangle going on. Some slurs were put out at the time, and I was like, and when it came down to it, Abe Brown, who was the black guy, he turned around and says, "I'm not getting into this. You punched me once," and he's walking away. And then, the white guy and the Asian guy just went at it.
Yep. Robert Diamond was a Caucasian Hollywood actor. Yes. And Lin Sung we'll get into
So
the one, right?
Yeah, we'll get more into detail with their adventures, but those 2 got into a fight that took pages and pages. Now, this whole magazine was done in black and white when it came to the comics, but if you want to get some good classic Iron Fist stories, that's the magazine to read. And the same thing with Sons of the Tiger. Right. So why are we starting off with Sons of the Tiger? And we're going to go back to them. That fight broke out, and they called on their powers, and they just beat the crap out of each other. And then they realized at one point, it seemed like the amulet was almost augmenting their mood, their powers. And they finally just kind of broke away from it. So, when Abe walked away, he took off the necklace, he threw it down. He threw down his little paw, walked away. The other 2 got into a vicious fight. I mean, vicious fight on top of the building in the Bronx at their dojo. And it was bloody. And, when they finally knocked themselves back to their senses, they said, okay, they took the chains off and threw them down. And then Lin, he took up the chains and he put all 3 pieces of the tiger chain together. So it was one chain with all 3 totems. There we go. And he threw it out the window. It was raining. They walk away. They kind of laughed it off and said, "Hey, man, sorry about that. I don't know what came over me." And then we bring in our homeboy. And so this is back in Deadly Hands of Kung Fu number 19. So if you read the story, it's going to say, Iron Fist followed by, Sons of the Tiger. But then the other story underneath that is White Tiger. So he shows up, and even though he's in the magazine for the next couple of issues after that, it never really it doesn't say Iron Fist and White Tiger. It always says Sons of the Tiger, even though they've now taken a back seat to it. Right. So during this time this happened, the necklace goes out, falls in the alley. They're walking one way from the top of a building, and Hector's walking between the 2 buildings in the alley. It's raining, and he sees, it stopped raining at this point. He sees this nice necklace on the ground. He goes, "Oh, who threw this away?" So let's introduce Hector Ayala, right? And forgive my pronunciation for pronouncing it wrong. So it's Hector Ayala, and we find out he's Puerto Rican. Puerto Rico. Hey, Puerto Rico. Oh, brings you back, big pun. right?
Nice.
Don't want to be a player no more. Okay, all right, we're good. Fat Joe and Big Pun, Puerto Rico. So, thank you. Hector walks by, sees the chain, says, "Hey, this is kind of nice. Who's throwing this away? It's jade, it's shiny, it's on night." So he goes and he puts the chain on, saying, "Well," and he's like he's a good-looking guy, and says, "Okay, fine." He's just going to put it on. Doesn't know who can throw it out that way, or so he goes. Someone lost it. Finders keepers. And when he puts it on, there's a blinding flash of light. Shout out to my man Dave Roden. When we used to play Dungeons and Dragons and we used to get too carried away and we wouldn't be listening to the DM, he's like, "There's a blinding flash of light." And that's how we knew he was teleporting in a very tough monster to shut us up. Yeah. Still traumatized up to today. So here we go. So the blinding flash of light. And then all of a sudden, the emergence of the white tiger. Because no one ever put all three amulets, all three totems together on the same chain. So he's in a skin tight outfit, white, with white gloves on. He's got like almost like Chinese sandals, but then it's got the crisscross Athena, Athens like straps that go across up to the calves and all that.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh man, I feel like I got more power and I feel stronger, And when he's trying to figure out what's going on with him with his change, he hears a scream in the background and he just takes off running. Just got to react to it. So this is the first emergence about it. Now, what is really cool is the people that created this character. One is by Marvel, regardless. Two, the artist is George Perez. So if you want to get some early George Perez art style, pre-Teen Titans, way back, Avengers, all way back, like we're talking 1975. George, thank you for all the stuff you've given us to still talk about now, even though you've passed on to a different plane. Amazing. George Perez. Okay, love his art style. Then the other one who was the writer was Bill Mantlo. Now, if anyone knows, you've heard me make comments over the years, and I still haven't got to it yet, but I will. Bill Mantlo was responsible, one person responsible for the Micronauts back in the day, the original run. So these guys come together, make this character, and this is where White Tiger shows up. Now he stole, and this is, we're talking about Hector. We know the White Tiger has shown up many times after this, but we're dealing with the first emergence of him. And Hector gets there, hears someone screaming, runs over. It's in the train yard. And what's happening in the train yard is a bunch of kids. So this happens now. That's in the first issue, in issue 19. Beginning in issue 20 is where he hears a scream. He stole White Tiger, takes off, runs. These gangsters are tagging trains. And if anyone doesn't understand what I mean by tagging trains, they're taking their logo for their street gang and they're spray painting them on the trains. If you don't know, watch Beat Street. So white, so clean. Ramon. Yes, there you go. They're doing that. A night watchman sees them and tries to stop them. One of them drops him with a kick. Of course, it's a deadly hands of kung fu, so it's a karate kick. Right? Then they're going and still tagging. Then the guard starts to wake up. They're like, "Oh no!" And they have this young member with them. Like he's just barely a teenager. And they're like, "Yo, if you want to be part of our gang, you got to turn around and take care of this guy." And they hand him a gun, and he's ready to shoot the guard in the head. Right. And then White Tiger shows up on the scene. They're like, "Who is you?" And he's like, "Can't do that." And I'm got to stop you. And of course, now it's another martial arts fight because it's in a martial arts magazine. Gets down to the last leader. The leader's like, "Yo, I just came back. Your kung fu is good, man, but I just came back from Vietnam and I'm a black belt in karate." And he takes off his jacket and the two of them start to go at it. White Tiger dismisses him. Then that boy turns around with a gun and he says, "Hey, man, I got to do this." And White Tiger's like, "Look, put the gun down. You're young. You don't want to go down this road." And he's like, "Yo, man, you don't understand. This gang runs the block. If I don't do this to be part of the gang, they will keep terrorizing my mom." Right? Like straight up bully situation. And he's not doing it for him. He's doing it just to survive. It's either you're against them and good luck, or you're with them.
You're with them or you're against them. Yep. Peer pressure at its finest, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. So I liked how they kind of put that in there, but it was realism to the point. And then the guard wakes up, and the kid's standing there, and he's got the gun pointed at White Tiger, and he pulls the trigger. Now, the only thing that saved White Tiger was his new reflexes, like Hector's new reflexes. He moves out the way, the bullet hits him in the shoulder, and he goes, "Man, if I didn't have the reflexes," he goes, "Kid, you're a good shot. That would have been right in my head, so to speak. You would have got me right in the heart. And he moved out the way, like, barely. The guard finally comes to, whaps, hits the kid across the back of the head with his billy club.
Yep.
Now, here are some things that don't make sense, but I'll get to that. White Tiger goes in, sees the kid on the ground, looks at the guard. He's like, "Hey, man, what'd you do that for?" I was trying to talk him out of putting down the gun. There was no need to hit him. Right. And the night watchman was like, "Look, you saved my life. I was just trying to return the favor. Maybe I hit the kid a little too hard." He goes, "You think? The kid is dead." White Tiger's holding him, blood on his hands. He's like, "The kid is dead." And the guard had like a very dismissive attitude about it, kind of, "Oh, well, and White Tiger freaked out, and he just turned around and balled up his fist, and one punch knocked down the night watchman, just out of pure anger of the situation. He didn't want no one to die. Right. He hears sirens in the background. He takes off. Right? Takes off running, doesn't stay around for anything. The cops show up. Next time we catch up to Hector's still in his White Tiger costume and gets into his house. And then he changes back to Hector. Now, during this point, he's got a bullet, grazed bullet wound off the shoulder. One of the guys was able to tag him or hit him with a knife, so he got a scratch across his chest. He turns back into his normal self. He doesn't remember anything, but he's sick. He's throwing up. He's got the shakes. He's got the sweats. Doesn't remember what happened.
Got the sweats.
Right. Cops show up at his door the next day. They're like, "Hey," so he lives with his mother and his sister at this point. The father is not around. In the Bronx, cops show up at the front door, knock, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like, "Hey, well, we're here looking for a gangster." It's like, "Oh, you're looking for this guy on this floor?" No. We're looking for Hector. It's like, "What are you looking for Hector for?" And Hector's there. It's like, "Okay, what's up?" Right? And he goes, "Well, we just got some questions to ask you because a kid was killed, and a night watchman was hit. And when we investigated, we found your fingerprints on the scene of the crime." Now, this is where I went, "Wait, what?" I was fine with a whole lot of it, and I know they had to intertwine it somewhere. But how can he leave fingerprints of the man wearing gloves?
Again, you got to tie him in somehow to carry out the story. They expected no one to be as fine tuned as we are to realize he has gloves. Gloves don't fit. You want to quit. That kind of
right.
Okay, maybe not.
I mean, if OJ can get off, okay, but.
No, you're absolutely correct. Like if it's drawn out that way, again, sometimes we have to take some storyline with a grain of salt because it's like the obvious, like, wasn't he out in full costume? Wasn't he out in full uniform? Just saying. I swear I saw him in full coverage. The how you leave prints. But I digress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that got me like off on the story is like, how can you leave fingerprints if he wore gloves and the gloves were magical because they're all part of the suit?
Right.
Okay, so and so pretty much what this tells me is he blacks out. He doesn't remember when the power comes, the suit takes over. Maybe the magic was too much strong for him, but it almost gave him a dependence on it. Like even his sister noticed, like, "Hey, why are you shaking? Why are you stressing?" So forth and all that stuff.
Right.
So, and he hides it up. And then at one point, he's in an apartment and he just like tosses one cop off, takes off from another one, takes off running, gone. And the cops are looking for him. So that's his introduction into the Marvel universe. Oops. Now, I said, I like one that, okay, White Tiger, I get it. That's who he is. Two, he's Puerto Rican, so we got someone, a little bit of flavor into him. I like that background, and that's something that really can be explored, especially more so in this day and age. I like the whole part where they made a kind of dependency, so something is going wrong with him. And, a long story short, he has his adventures where he's trying to clear his name. So first, the cops are looking for him. And then things happen at key points. So he doesn't remember who he is. Like, he doesn't remember being White Tiger. He just knows he blacks out at one point.
Yeah.
Then he sees that the police, so he's White Tiger during another adventure, and he's fighting the Prowler because the Prowler's trying to turn good, a Spider-Man villain, and he's trying to do good. He fights the Prowler because the Prowler thinks that, oh, I know this kid because I was a big brother to this kid at one point, part of the Big Brother program. Right. So I want to go and bring this guy in.
Right.
Then the police are like, oh, no, he's innocent. He is. Now, they don't really explain how he's innocent. They just say he's innocent, and it's in the paper. So you see, like, you know, cameos from other people. So you've got the Prowler that's in there. You see J. Jonah Jameson that's in there. Another guy turns around and gets pictures of him. And he's like, how'd you get pictures of him? And by the way, where's Peter Parker? Get Parker on the line. I want Parker. If he gets pictures of Spider-Man, I want him to get pictures of White Tiger.
Name drop.
So
name
this
drop,
starts the whole... Right? There's a lot of name drops going on with this series. But they never said how he's innocent. So what happens is White Tiger, and I'm saying this specifically, sees the newspaper saying, oh, White Tiger is now found innocent, not being searched anymore by the police. Great. Then he turns back into Hector. But he, as White Tiger, Hector doesn't remember that he read the paper. So Hector thinks he's still being hunted. Right.
There's this, again, it's you know what, when I saw all that, it made me think of Moon Knight. It made me think of Moon Knight in the sense where, at least, or in the beginning of Moon Knight, when you watch the series,
yes,
you know, Steven didn't know what Michael was doing and anything along that line. So you just, at the beginning, like, blacking out, waking up here, what happened? Why are my hands full of blood? Blah, 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 da, 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 da. But then eventually he got to understanding he can talk to his inner self and all, you know, to his other consciousness of stuff along that line. But initially, when I read all this, I was just thinking, that sounds familiar. Moon Knight. Just sound like Moon Knight. I'm just saying. You sound like Moon Knight. It's all good. Excellent.
Right. You know, and he's gone through, and so there's a lot of people that he crisscrosses with in the Marvel universe, right? Be it through the, you know, and all this, most of the book is still called Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, right? And it's still under, you know, Sons of the Tiger. It's only a couple of issues after that you actually see it White Tiger. Like, he finally gets top billing. The Sons of the Tiger are still there, but they're pushed more in the background as a subplot. And they're not even intertwined with what's going on with him majority of the time.
Right.
You know, they're just there to wrap up their storyline or just show people there's a transition. It's all within that same universe, I imagine. So, you know, I know Sons of the Tiger I keep mentioning, Daughters of the Dragon, right, which was brought up. So all this could be, you know, and the magazine, because it was a martial arts magazine, really was smart marketing how they put these characters together. But they made this character a tragic character, though. I mean, people think Bruce Banner's a tragic character.
You got some stuff you got to work through. Hector, we got some stuff you got to work through. It's okay. We'll be all right.
Every time he's not White Tiger, he's always, or he changes back. He's got the shakes. He's throwing up. He finally remembers and he's able to understand and remember his adventures. And then he has the flashbacks. And then also he gets the memories of the Sons of the Tiger. He goes, I don't even know who these guys are, but now I have I see their faces like I'm dreaming, even though I'm not asleep, and I'm getting like things that they've done but I'm not even asleep. So clearly that amulet remembers what each person did, how they felt, maybe their fighting styles too. And that's how I'm taking it. And now with it all combined, it's a lot to take in. And maybe his body's having a hard time assimilating all that.
Adapting it. Right. Just overwhelmed by all the different, basically, as you look at it, it's a three-part. It's the three-part individuals, you know, consciousness and style, all now being inverted into one. So yeah, it definitely, that could be part of the physical reasoning why he keeps getting the shakes. He's getting throwing up and stuff like that, because his body is now trying to assimilate and try to absorb in three separate powers under one host. So it's taking a heavy toll on Hector to just get his body assimilated, getting accustomed to having that type of transition and transforming from Hector to White Tiger and White Tiger back to Hector.
You know? Exactly. And when I say he's got a tragic thing, let's just get right to it. I mean, he went from blacking out being this character. For years, he became a crime fighter. He's teamed up with multiple people in the Marvel universe and crisscrossed in their books, which was a lot of fun. And you see him drawn by different artists that I like. I believe maybe, yes, he's teamed up with Daredevil. He's teamed up with Spider-Man, right? Okay, perfect. Then he had one villain called Lightmaster, and and that was a big fight in itself. Now, during the time he was the White Tiger, like Hector was the White Tiger, at one point he how can I put it? His identity got exposed. He was getting ready to retire, and then his identity was exposed to the public. So everyone knew he was White Tiger. He was looking to get a better life, and he's like, okay, I retired. I'm not going to be White Tiger no more. He had to go through a whole court case. Matt Murdock was his lawyer, and he was getting railroaded, saying, oh, he's guilty, he's guilty, he's guilty. He did time in jail, and just when he was coming out, something happened and events happened, and he's had to do something, and I don't want to give away the ending. It's just you got to go and read it, bottom line, and catch all the details. He comes out and he gets killed. Like at the end, like he's always been innocent, but he ends up getting killed. And when he gets killed, he gets proven after, posthumous. He gets proven after the fact that he was innocent.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's see here.
Come on, son, man. And that hits, right? But let's be real. Being a Puerto Rican Black person of color in certain cities, yeah, you're guilty first, and you have to prove yourself innocent, even though the law says otherwise. So that hits a little bit close to home. Like in this day and age, if you had to take that story, there's not much you need to do to put it in a modern context. Yeah. The only reason I was sad about it is because Hector dies. Right.
Like he's got, he's done what he had to do. He's working a regular job. He's got himself a girlfriend. He's moving away from New York when all this happened. And then he gets pulled back in almost like the mafia.
Yeah.
Right. Ouch. So that's what it was. He was wrongly accused of murder. Right. And Matt tried to stop it, and nope. So it was a little too late. Like Matt Murdock did his thing, and he would. Now, after that, those medallions are still around. They've passed down to many people. But I still think with what they were trying to do, I think it could have been right now, if it came back, one, it could be executed a lot better.
Yeah.
Right? Still to bring in the police, because he had a good supporting cast. Like his mom, his sister, great supporting cast. The cop that was in there trying to chase him down, okay, I can understand, instead of McGee being a reporter, it was this police officer that was trying to chase him down.
Exactly. You see the similarities right there. About to go there, but all right.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No, you're saying you said McGee, but you're just basically McGee, or even the reporter for Hulk from the TV show.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So the same kind of concept. He's constantly chasing him down, but at least that's one advert who is going to be constant, that he knows that he has to be playing 2 steps ahead, because if he slacks, someone's going to pick up on him and find out who he is, and try to cause more strife in his life. So no, that's good and good.
Yeah. So this is what got me. So there's a lot of moving pieces in here. So I mean, on top of it, he's within the Marvel universe. Daredevil's there. So I know from what they did on Netflix last time, everyone loved the Daredevil series. Like I'm gonna speak for myself. I love the Daredevil live action Charlie Cox on Netflix. I think it was really well done. Looking to see what they're gonna do with Daredevil Reborn. I'm happy that they're bringing back the original actor Charlie Cox to kind of take that role again.
Right.
When they did Punisher, liked that one a lot. When they did Iron Fist, love Iron Fist. Wasn't a fan of the actor. The actor had the look, but he didn't want to learn martial arts. And
yeah,
you're supposed to be the martial artist. Yeah, you don't want to learn martial arts. Come on, son.
Yeah, it was that particular, the live action one, the rendition was a little bit could have definitely do some more work. Could have been definitely use some more work to get up to par. It was kind of like, I'll be honest, it was a little painful to watch. I was trying to give it, the grace, be like, okay, this episode is good. This episode, but I will say with you, even if I just segue into this part right now, I'm just saying that Marvel has all their they're action figures in a sense of godlike. So we're talking Thor, we're talking Loki, we're talking
Yeah.
from that type of endeavor. We are talking about super soldiers. We're talking about, billionaire inventors and stuff like that.
Right.
So you know where we're going with the Tonys
Yeah.
and Steve and everything like that. Segueing. So now the introduction of bringing in Charlie Cox, bringing Matt Murdock in, bringing in Moon Knight. Now we're going to individuals who either have some type of super enhanced type of abilities. So we're close to the spectrum of Captain America minus the super soldier serum. We have some kind of mystic element, the Moon Knight, to give them close into that range or similar or on par with the range of Captain America. Now we're going to go more human, just natural abilities and everything along the line. At the, not say the lower, but at the other spectrum is Daredevil. Now we bring in White Tiger. White Tiger is in between because he's going to be definitely more physical, but you know that he has some enhancement because of the amulets. Yeah. So now he's going to be on the side towards Moon Knight. Maybe not as high as Moon Knight, but he's going to be in there. So it's great now that we have characters that are coming in who are going to be that, I don't want to say realistic type of,
let's say more
humanoid,
down to earth,
more down to earth,
more tangible.
Tangible, what? Right. See, so even in the Avengers, the more tangible ones we have was Hawkeye and Natasha.
Yes,
Black Widow. Now you can clearly say, although Black Widow is a trained assassin and all that line, to me, Daredevil would pass her in that rank.
Yeah. Well, he has some enhancement. Yes.
He has an enhancement, whatever the case. He has his radar sense and everything like that. But at least he has the way of watching people's, even better, watching their body movements and how to reflect and how to counter and everything along that line.
And he was trained as a ninja, unbeknownst even to him.
Facts by stick and everything along that line.
Right.
So I will say, kind of all that to entail to say, introducing White Tiger into the Marvel Cinematic Universe is actually a good opportunity. They have it now, like they haven't, again, until that time, until basically this year of 2022, Moon Knight, re-adding Daredevil in more properly into the Marvel Universe.
Right.
We didn't have anything that realm. Yes, we had the Hawkeye, we had the Black Widow, but that was basically it as human, inaugurated type of individuals.
Right.
Now we can just say, okay, Moon Knight, ooh, nice touch. Daredevil, ooh, nice touch. Now we can put in White Tiger. To me, it's a beautiful segue. If Marvel decides to go into that realm, hopefully someone gets a chance to see this and send this off for them. Listen, we're just saying that you have an opportunity to bring in another culture into the realm. We're bringing a Hispanic character and bringing him to the forefront. You have Shang-Chi.
Yes.
Shang-Chi. So we're bringing from that aspect. Yes, we can go that route. So this is a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity to bring this character in, and I'm sure by the time we get to the end of our episode, you'll see who we cast. But this will be a good way to. The door is open. The door is there. The door is there right now. The door is there, like
wide open.
The conversation would definitely have been great to have this conversation a year or 2 years ago type of scenario. I'm kind of hoping that they're going to open the door. The door is there. If you don't want to say an Hispanic door is there, okay, let me specific. Maybe there's no Hispanic door there, but there's other culture doors there right there. So you can't tell me you couldn't walk down 2 steps more, 4 feet to the left, and you're not going to find a Hispanic door that you can actually walk into. The door is right there. The door has to be on that wall. The door's on that wall.
The door is okay. So right now, here it is. So and here we go fan cast that right now. So I'm gonna start off here with my whole little theory. Right. Okay. So first, you're right. The door is open. The door is there. We're ready to go, and I'll show you how close we are to this door. Mm-hmm. So we have the hand that's been introduced into Iron Fist, Daredevil. Right.
Right.
Perfect. We had Shang-Chi, the movie, right? Master Kung Fu. Okay, so we know he's a movie person, right? So let's go back to the basics of it. Let's get back to me. This is how I see it. I want to see a Disney Plus series, not a movie. This one will be a Disney Plus series for me.
Yeah.
I don't want the character to die at the very end. I find something else, but don't kill him off. That's my only ask about this. I would bring in the character and bring in White Tiger and kind of deal more with a martial arts action show because the character's already there. So you have to bring in the Sons of the Tiger, but let them have that falling out, maybe do a little flashback or something like that with how the amulets, Hector finds the amulets. That's for sure.
Right.
Within the series, I would like to see Daughters of the Dragon, so that's Misty Knight and Colleen Wing. I want to see them in there because to me, they were the saving grace in Iron Fist. And the whole time I was watching Iron Fist, like, come on, give her the metal arm. So bring back Misty. I think they should have their own series, and we got to talk about them.
Yeah, definitely.
So bring in this Tiger, Sons of the Tiger, bring in Daughters of the Dragon, let them do their cameos. You can bring in Charlie Cox even as a lawyer. Don't even have to put him as Daredevil, but of course people want to see him as Daredevil. Have Hector in there as the main focus. I want this as a Disney Plus series. Give me like 6-7 episodes, anywhere 6 to 8 episodes for season 1 kind of thing.
Yep.
And still go through with him being, the blacking out, trying to find out more about the medallion, him, fighting off the crime, his identity getting released to the public, having to help and save his family. But I said, don't kill him. That's the only thing I want to see. I don't kill him. I think they got rid of this character, this particular one, too soon. Okay. So that's everything that I have to say there about that. Now, if I got to turn around and pick out a guy, then I'm going to tell you who I'm going to pick. First of all, he has to be Puerto Rican.
Hey,
Puerto Rican. Hey, you got to respect the culture. Got to respect the culture. Got to respect the culture.
Right.
Okay. Because there's no why. And on top of it, person's got to be open to or into martial arts. Right. Because he's a martial artist. No matter what. Right. At the time, that's the 70s. Everyone went to a martial arts class, and then it pumped it up. Okay, fine. It's got to be because I need that level of action and fight scenes to represent a martial arts movie. Like, what I mean? Put it like the Old West. Give it kind of Old West feel with the showdowns and stuff like that. Like, woo, woo, woo. One martial arts on one side, the other one's the other side. Like those old Shaolin movies where they're fighting a master, and really make it, elaborate, intricate. This is what you need. So you need someone with some skill, not someone that's going to say he's going to learn it. So the guy I'm going with, his name is Jose Manuel. Now, Jose Manuel, he's a martial artist. He is Puerto Rican. And you can find his clips on YouTube. And he's done some movies and acting along the way, too. So he's coming out with a movie, I think, soon. It's not out yet. But if you do a search on YouTube and you do test fight sequence, Jose Manuel versus Kawajoa. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. He's an actor, he's Puerto Rican, and he's a martial artist. He looks a little bit slimmer, but this is the guy who I'd go with. Now, I don't need a big bulking guy. I just need someone that represents the culture and looks good on screen and can do it. So this is who I'm going with. And I know if you look up Jose Manuel, you're going to see a bunch of different guys show up. So you really got to narrow it down. But I know he's there. And he's, as I said, can't go wrong. This is who I'm going with. I know he's got a movie coming out where he's just going to be like the lead on that movie. So as I said, Jose Manuel, that's who I'm going with. I will put up a picture. Clearly, you're seeing the picture now of who I'm talking about. But if you do that search for him, he's like a rising action star, Jose Manuel, the man from Catamunda, So this is where you got to go. So clearly, that's White Tiger to me.
Okay,
this is White Tiger to me. He's got culture, skill, good-looking guy. He would look good as a White Tiger in the costume, in and out the costume. He can do it.
Got it. Okay. I'm looking to see if I can find. I see a quick video, so I didn't get a chance to pull to watch the video to see who it is.
Right.
So, but you know what? You brought up some good points and stuff like that. At least having not only the nationality, but having the ability to be a martial artist, who can handle himself in front of the camera along that line. So that's good. So here's my pick. So I went with someone again. I want to respect the culture and make sure we have someone who is representing properly, who can, not even say, I don't want no one to, excuse me, don't fake the funk. Don't try to, don't try to be, from Venezuela if you don't have the dialect. Don't try to be you're from, somewhere culturally and you can't have the proper dialect. No.
Right,
I want someone who can properly speak and everything. So who I pick is Welmer Valderrama.
Oh, Fez from the 70s show.
Fez from the 70s show, aka, well, so see, this is the beautiful thing. I was gonna reverse back it, but we'll go with Fez. So we'll start with Fez from the 70s show. Mm-hmm. As of late, Fez is on. He plays Nick Torres on NCIS.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
So he's there. So he has the range of having the comedy type of scenario. Now, right now, we do say that Hector doesn't portray anything comical type of scenario. Hopefully, maybe you can write it in and just give a couple of one-liners or so. Just
some levity, right?
Some levity. But on the flip side for NCIS, now he got to be physical to be running around and handling that. He got to be able to keep up, and be able to handle that type of action, movement, running around and everything like that. So he has the physique, he has the build, he has the acting chops to have that range. So now I'm going through what he has, and I don't really see anything that has that hard focus.
Right.
But I'm believing because he has a range of being Fez to here, I'm sure he can pull and he has the range going on one side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
You can't tell me he won't be able to pull on the other side of the spectrum and be able
I believe he would. I hear you, because he also did another TV show. So you remember the movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise?
Yes, like I was seeing that and I was trying to remember, like I see the character, but I couldn't remember his actual actions.
Yes, so he wasn't in the movie, but they did
he was in a TV show
for one season, which I watched, and he played a cop, and he was very physical in that role. It was so far from Fez that it was nice to see him do something completely different out of character from what we know him as over the years. Right. So I believe that, he does keep himself in shape. I believe that he would go and get like some training to do the fight scenes nice.
And that's exactly it. And this is where, again, it's not to sound harsh or disrespect for the other person who did Iron Fist, but you can see that he didn't want to, or if he wanted to, I don't think it was within his scope to be able to translate what he learned to come out physically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just wasn't that type of, he wasn't that type of actor.
He wasn't a physical. At first he was kind of pushing back at it. People are like, hey, we're trying to teach him. He didn't want to learn. And it was only as the series went on, he started getting a little bit better because he realized how it was looking. And then they were really, like, the execs were saying, come on, you're supposed to be playing this character. But it seems like, a normal mugger could take you. You're supposed to be the ultimate weapon.
Right. But I mean, it was,
Shang-Chi, that movie showed a martial arts. You looked at him like, if I ran into Shang-Chi in real life, he could take it.
My life is over.
If I ran into Iron Fist in real life and that's the actor that's playing him, I could take him.
I'm okay. I'm not worried. I'll hold my ice cream, and I won't lose any butterscotch ice cream as I take Danny down. I'm just saying, or rum and raisin, just saying. So that's to show you how much I don't really fear for my life. Because you could see certain camera shots and everything, the angles of like saying, oh my God, they're like, you see the guy just basically, okay, I'm going to come to you right at this moment and I'll bend. So grab me and pull me over. Oh, okay, cool. Type of scenario. So I'm going to go, so basically, Wilmer will be able to fulfill that functionality and be able to translate any type of action that needed onto the screen and give us a performance, even if I would just feel that he will have the ability to portray himself in that particular manner that will give us something, as time progresses, he will get better. But to me, he can be that serious notion because Hector, again, when you read the comics and you see how Hector when he was in White Tiger mode,
Yeah.
he was like a force and it's not even the physical aspect, just the way he was written, his dialect, the way he was talking.
Yeah.
You already, I'm like, yeah, this guy's not even playing. He didn't even lay a hat on anybody yet. And it was like thinking, this could be a problem. Confidence indeed. 10,000-fold could he had 3 amulets instead of 1. So he was compensating like crazy. So listen, all I'm going to say is, before I will get any further, I just want to say that I will see this, again, just like you, I will see this as a Disney Plus type of series. Give me 7 to 8. Right. You're right. There's enough story in there that we can build off of. I want to give me that type of dark type of writing like it was with Luke Cage. Because Luke Cage, I really enjoyed the writing. I really liked the story in Luke Cage. And I really wish that, if they're bringing back Charlie for Daredevil, I hope that they will eventually start to pull and bring Luke Cage into the MCU. Yeah. Because to me, that's another conversation we'll bring up.
Right. And once again, that character could crisscross with all of them in Hell's Kitchen. I mean, completely. Bronx, Hell's Kitchen, all the same area, Brooklyn, come on now.
Listen, Hell's Kitchen is just birthing out madness. Listen, that's all we're going to call it. Hell's Kitchen is birthing out madness. So let's leave it at that and just say that give me Disney Plus, give me a series, give me a limited series, definitely at least 2 seasons. We can start with the storyline. Completely agree. Do not kill the man. No. Let him live.
Yeah.
That's something. There's a mystical connection that we can now bring into Doctor Strange, who's already there.
Yes.
So there.
Uh-oh. We've lost the internet.
There are connections that we can have him connected to. Oh, sorry. Did I?
You froze for half a second. It's all good, man. It's all good. Okay,
so I didn't realize that. But I'm just saying, it's basically there's Doctor Strange. There's the connections there. We could have the mystical aspect of it. But we're starting to look into that world now. So this is where White Tiger can physically go off, mystically go off. There's different avenues and branches, that levels and layers that we can reach in with here. So that's all I'll end it with that.
Cool. And of course, when you look at the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu magazine, you can always see those cool articles there. Count Dante, deadliest man around. Anyways, if you know it, read it, check it out. It is something to see. On that note, thank you everyone for tuning in and watching another episode of the Iconist Podcast. This is episode 80. So 20 more away from 100. Whoa, we got to do something big.
We can do it.
Yes, man.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it. We getting there weekly. So remember, like, subscribe, share, rate, and review. Tell your friends. Don't let the show be a secret. On behalf of the one and only Barry 3D, thank you. And
DJ Rod C, thank you.
Right on. And remember, as I always say, this whole world was started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. Till next week. Bye.
White Tiger.
Now, where's my medallion? Where's hold on. I got the chain. I just don't got no medallions. Maybe I can put that on my Christmas list.
Bright flashlight. Transported in. You will now be
right?
Red Wizard.
It's like Tiamat the Dragon. What? Okay, we out.